Good morning. So I still have, about an hour and a half before I have to leave. So I kind of wanted to, reflect on my life because I've been going through some turmoil lately. I kind of like been attached to a certain fantasy, and it's been kind of like occupying my mind, and I'm so done with it. I don't want to keep feeding into it because I don't know, like it's not going anywhere. It's like basically a hypothetical scenario in which so many things would have to happen, so many unlikely things that it's like not really worth considering, basically. And it's also like not something I actually want. I was thinking about this yesterday when I was in bed. How like that would be awful for me. Like there are going to be some upsides as any fantasy has, but it's also going to be kind of like miserable for me. But it did highlight some things that I kind of like I want. Some of the way that things that I want to be, things that I want to be perceived as, and it is interesting. So like it does highlight that, and having that being highlighted, I can kind of like do something about it. I can either question whether why I want something, or maybe like take steps to become like that version of myself. So basically I've been kind of like tormented. Oh, but I will say that I basically these past 2 days I've been struggling to write. I've been sitting down and trying to get words out, but it isn't really happening. And I think the first day that this was occurring, I kind of I ended up like just wasting a lot of time, getting like very frantic in some ways. Like I was kind of like constantly updating things, trying to see something new, instead of like working on myself and on things that are kind of like important to me. Oh yeah, by the way, like these are my new earrings. I painted them black. I had like this black earrings, but like one of them like broke, so I was like, you know what, like let me get like black earrings. And I also painted. So basically yesterday, for example, I spent the whole day doing things, so I wasn't able to write, but it was all very productive, very constructive. So for example, I made a new necklace. I'm gonna show it right now. I made a couple of necklaces. I painted some of the earrings that I have, the new kind of like things that I got, but also some of the older ones that they were kind of like painted in a certain way, but that I didn't really get a lot of use of that. So I was kind of like getting new colors. I ended up cleaning. I did a whole lot of cleaning in my room, like going through my drawers, through the boxes, and getting stuff out. Also my bathroom, like I also got a lot of like stuff out. I organized a lot of things. So basically like everything that I've been putting off for like a long time, in terms of like, because sometimes like you get something and then you don't put it like exactly where you found it. So there's kind of like this pile of things. It can be clothes, it can be any type of object. And so I did a lot of like cleaning, a lot of like tidying things up, and it felt great. Like that was actually it felt like I was, because I was doing things that I've been kind of like postponing. So yeah, I spent the day like like doing things, and as I said, I felt like so much better now that it's kind of like done. And I'll try to maintain it, because that is something else, because maintaining things tidied up, it's kind of like the way to not have to do this. But I do know that sometimes you're just tired. So for example, clothes are a good example. Sometimes I just put my clothes like on my chair, or like not they're not hanging, or like in the drawers. So yeah, that was something that I did. Also, I separated a lot of things for me to donate, including clothes, accessories, and all that. And I'm really happy with that, because I think some of these things, they had been kind of like making me feeling like almost oppressed, because I talked about this before, like I don't like when there's too much of anything. And this is, I think like my clothes is a pretty good example of like that happening. Like when there's too much, I feel a little like there's too much. And I've been kind of like changing my style a little bit lately. So basically I got some of the old stuff out, because I did put a lot of things on sale. There's this website / app that you can sell things secondhand. And basically, as I said, like I felt like there's some stuff that was selling there, but it wasn't getting any hype, wasn't getting any offers. So I was like, you know what, let me just donate this. And donating is always good. And I will say, because sometimes like I feel hesitant to donate something, because like kind of like I paid money for it, and then sorry, and then like I didn't really get the use out of it. But there was two shorts. I'm wearing less shorts right now, and because also some of the shorts, they were a little too short. Some of them, like particularly since I gained some weight, they were showing like my butt cheeks. So I got two of them, and I'm just like, I'm donating. Now this is going to go to somewhere else. And also because because I put on some weight, like not everything is fitting me, but I do have plans, but like after getting back to the way that I was. And the thing is that some of this, articles of clothing, like I'm not gonna go back to them because as I said, I know I'm changing, things. But yeah, so yesterday was really good in terms of like getting stuff done, and it was interesting because I was basically like in this, I want to do something, I have a lot of energy. I've been struggling with sleep, like yesterday I went to bed like at 7 p.m. and I only fell asleep around midnight. So that was 5 hours of me just being in bed. But it was good because I ended up finding like lots of things I had to do, like answering messages, answering emails, and also like I did have a moment for creativity because I think I mentioned I'm getting tattoo today, but like the next one I'm going to get, which is probably going to be next year, is going to be on my forearms. And I've been kind of like coming up with the design and all the elements, and basically yesterday I scratched like what it was going to be, and I'm going for something else. And so I've been kind of like like looking into things. I've Pinterest, Google Images, and finding like references of like what I like. And I'm still like not, because also like I don't like forcing like the design, so I just let the inspiration come to me. So I was looking at works of art like paintings, sculptures, drawings, and it was interesting because I was like, okay, I feel like much better about like this. But yeah, I was kind of like in bed. I was answering questions from like the stuff that I'm putting up for sale, and I'm thinking of like getting rid of like even more things, and well, that's life. And I feel better because I also think that like the things that I'm like donating, like I got use out of them. Also like it does help that like I've already paid them off, because if you donate something that you're still paying, like that hurts. But I'm kind of like just okay, this had its time. And also like sometimes you just learn from the situations, because sometimes like you think that you're gonna wear something and then you realize that doesn't work as well. It's not, like it doesn't, it's not what you want. And I will say that in terms of like not only clothes and accessories, but like any acquisitions that I've been making, I have been finding that I've been finding that like my judgment is getting better, for food too, which is great, because as I said, like I'm struggling sleeping, I have like too much energy, so I have some signs of maybe like me getting to like a manic episode. It's still like the very beginning, like it's not risky yet, but it is something for me to kind of like be on the lookout for. And so yeah, so basically like I'm not spending too much, so like that is a huge relief. And also like not only is that a relief, but also I yeah, like I think I'm making better choices overall. I think that it's not like just this moment. I think I'm developing new habits that will kind of like help me carry out in the future. So yeah, I'm kind of like happy with myself where I am at right now. I'm happy I'm finding things to do. Oh yeah, I also washed, because I have a lot of like shoes, sandals and all that they are plastic. It's from this brand that I really like. It's called Melissa, and basically like they get dirty, so I have to wash them. So yesterday I washed all of them. Even like the ones they're my mom's, like I washed everything, and it's great because like they look good as new. There's some damage because I've been using them for like a while, but like that was also pretty good, because this is something I've been postponing for the longest time, and it was great because basically I've been just kind of like looking around for things to do, and fortunately things ended up popping up, because as I said, like I have a lot of energy. I want to use this energy constructively. So like me going through things like that is best case scenario. And I did basically, it feels like I did everything yesterday, so I don't know if I'll have stuff to do right now. I'll be leaving, as I said, like in an hour and a half, and then I'll be coming back. Yeah, also something that I'm kind of like I want to do, because you're supposed to change your beddings and towels like once a week at least, and basically like your hand towels it should be like even less time. And I've been trying to kind of like, because I'm the one who like does that here at home, so I've been trying to be on top of my game, but like I always miss. So I decided that like every Monday is going to be the day that I'm going to take all the beddings and all the towels. I'm not going to do this today because it's raining, so it's not going to dry out as like as well. It's going to take longer, and it's going to be bad. But basically I decided like every Monday I'm going to do this. This is going to be my activity for the morning. And I mean I do in the morning, but like because I hope that by doing this I'm establishing a day, because like sometimes like it gets for too long and like that's not good for you. So yeah, so yesterday I didn't wash anything, but like I already changed everything. But yeah, so I kind of like want today to continue to be productive, and I'm just kind of like scrambling in my head trying to think of like things for me to do. And as I said, like I don't want to just be scrolling on my phone because that's not great. I was in a digital detox and that was great, but like it feels that since I came back with like all this energy, I'm just checking things too much. So I want to go back to that. And oh yeah, also something positive that happened yesterday, because basically I've been running out of storage on my phone for the longest time. It's not pictures, it's not files, it was apps. Specifically YouTube. YouTube was like 49 gigabytes, which is like almost half of what I had. And because of that, I couldn't even like update my phone because there was no storage. So I was looking what I could do, and basically something that worked is that I uninstalled the app, restarted my phone, turned it, shut it down, and started it over again, and then I installed the app again, and that worked. So like I'm really happy about this because like my previous phone, it was 256 gigabytes, and my current one's 128 because they don't make the 256 anymore. So it is less storage than I was used to, but I'm already with this phone for like years now. So it's just something that at first, like at first it didn't do much because like I still had storage. But yeah, but like now that I've said that, I want to talk about my mental health. Basically, I'm trying to do better. As I said, I've had this fantasy and it's plaguing me, and I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I'm trying to look at the bright side, maybe not the bright side, but like what can I learn from this? And it's been very interesting because like I'm seeing these urges, and I'm basically seeing that like there's a pattern, because I think that this particular fantasy, like it kind of like goes at a sense very megalomaniac. So it's another thing that can be indicating that I may be getting manic, and it's kind of like crazy just how much sometimes, because I feel like I'm happy with my life, and then suddenly like I said a fantasy, I'm like, oh, I don't have that. And I mean some things, for example, money, I don't have as much money as I would like, but like that's just life. But sometimes it's just like the perception that people have, and it's interesting because sometimes it enters in conflict with who you are. I think that many of my fantasies that I used to have, like they involve my past being different, me being a different person when I was in middle school and in high school and like the years after that. And that was not the version of me that I was. I think that I was shyer, and possibly like less confident. I still had this brave facade, like that was almost abrasive at times, but I wasn't that person. I wasn't commanding. I wasn't commanding the room as I get. I wasn't charismatic. I wasn't like perceived as being somebody who is cool, entertaining, enjoyable, and all that. And basically I can change that, like that is not, but like that is not the version of myself that I have right now. And I feel like sometimes I want the opportunity to prove that I have kind of changed, that I am no longer like that repressed, traumatized, like walking on eggshells version of myself. But that's the thing, like what do I have to prove to people? Like I don't. But sometimes it's kind of like validating because I want to be something, but if you're not perceived as that, it's like I shouldn't care. And parts of me like don't about the way I'm perceived, but I think that I would, some younger me would hate to admit this, but I do crave some level of validation, about who I am. Particularly because I think for so many years I was so stuck in my head and I was constantly rewriting reality to fit like the narrative that I was trying to push. So like right now I'm basically I'm kind of free from that, but I think some old habits die hard, right? So like there's still some things that, so I kind of like I don't feel like sometimes I don't fully trust that I am that. I need kind of like these objective eyes of other people to kind of like indicate that that is the case. And I'm not gonna get it basically. I am interacting, but I honestly like my interactions with other people, they're pretty chill, which is pretty good for me because I don't want any burden, any weight dragging me down. But also like I don't think that I can be fully this version of myself. Yeah, I can be, because I'm being kind of like chill. And as I said, like I think that I want to portray this version of myself that doesn't care. And I think that there's like a healthy level of like not caring, but it's kind of like crazy how it quickly divulges uh, into like being kind of unhealthy, kind of like I don't give a fuck type of way, because I don't want to care. But I feel like this I don't give a fuck. It can be kind of performative in some ways. Like you're saying that, like if you have to say it, then you probably do care. That's kind of like my opinion on that. So I don't want to say that, but I feel like I kind of like want to some extent. So that is an interesting journey to have. It's an interesting reality, but I don't know. I'm trying to focus more on the things that are happening. So, for example, me getting my tattoo, which is something that I've been looking forward to for like the whole year, and is going to be kind of like representative of it's going to be representative of I don't know where I stand, like what I think, you know. It's kind of like, people say that your body is a temple, and I'm just decorating the walls, with things that are important to me, that they mean something. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do this, and looking forward to the future. But basically, I've been good. Like I've been feeling good. Like things are not upsetting me so much. This is one thing that I'm like, maybe I'm not manic, because usually you get more irritable. Like you get angrier when you're manic. And I mean, I did have a moment right there before I decided to come record, where I saw a comment, talking about something in the show, that reason that I like, and I was kind of. That upset me. I was kind of like, fuck you. I didn't say anything because I usually don't engage, but it's one of those things that like it's probably rage bait to some extent, so I'm not gonna engage because that's pretty much what people want. I'm not gonna do what they want. I'm gonna do what I want. And I feel like this particular mindset, I'm gonna do what I want, there is a healthy level to it. There is like thinking about like you prioritizing yourself and thinking about the things that are good for you. But it can also become like very selfish, very individualistic too quickly. And when I was younger, that was pretty much where I wanted to be, selfish and individualistic. But like right now, I'm more I want more, because I feel like me wanting those things came from a place of hurt. Like I wasn't healing from like, some of my traumas and some of the things that had happened in my life. So I was kind of like projecting. But like right now that I'm no longer burdened by my traumas, and I'm like in a more confident version of myself, truly confident, because I think I carried myself, with confidence in the past, but it was kind of a facade. Like I was very vulnerable and very scared, very, things were affecting me, and I didn't want to acknowledge it. Right now, like things are generally not affecting me so much, and like that's a great change, very nice development. I'm really happy about that, because this is kind of like what I wanted for the longest time. So I'm more resilient. I'm really choosing life. Like I was thinking about this the other day, I think it was maybe yesterday, when I was like laying down and still like not falling asleep. I want to live, even if I don't have all the answers, even if like there's uncertainty about the future and about where I'm getting, where I'm landing. Like I want to keep doing this, and I have to find my anchors. And for example, tattoos, they can kind of like be an anchor, because I want to get them. But like there's more. I don't know, like sometimes I don't even have like a particular reason, like why do I want to leave. Like no, I just want to leave, and that is enough. And as I said, like it is a huge change from who I used to be, and it's a very welcome change. So it's kind of crazy how like things are happening, they're kind of like destabilizing me. But that's the thing, they're not destabilizing me. Things that usually would have in the past, like right now, I'm very they're not affecting me as much, so that's pretty nice. It makes me happy, it makes me like it makes me look forward to things, because I feel like one of the reasons why I didn't want to live anymore is because it felt like everything was too much, the burden was too heavy, I was struggling to carry it. So like that felt like the only way out. And like right now I feel like there are other ways, there are other things, and like healthy things, because for example, food is something that has always brought me joy and been an anchor. But like I think sometimes there will be an excess to that. So right now I think I'm having a healthier relationship with food, which is like pretty much all that I wanted. And yeah, so I'm having a healthy relationship with food, with my body, with my thoughts. Even if like, as I said, I'm having these fantasies, and it's kind of frustrating to have them, But at the same time, I'm not letting them kind of like lead me to despair, because when I think about it, like there's so many different things that in the past, and when I say past, I don't mean like 5 years ago, I mean like a few months ago, they would really affect me, and like right now they don't. They would affect me, and then you know you feel like the only way out was, you know, the end. And like right now, not so much. Right now, I'm like, you know what, like this affects me, this is bad, the world is bad, like things are things should be getting worse, but I'm going to persist. I'm going to continue, you know, my journey. I'm going to take each day as it comes. You know, I'm going to develop, you know, good habits, good strategies, good defense mechanisms. They're healthy and they don't make things worse. Because as I talked about before, sometimes like when I'm craving the end, like what you know suits me is planning that, and that is not good. That's not healthy. That is, you know, kind of bad. Can lead to some bad outcomes. So basically, yeah, so I'm putting that away and I'm developing better things. And because what I want is for like all these negative things happening, both the ones that have to do with like my microcosm and the, like my macrocosm. I want them to, I don't want them to affect me to the point that I'm contemplating, you know, like ending things. And so far, you know, it doesn't seem that that is the case. You know, it feels like I am on a journey, and you know, like I'm succeeding in that journey, which you know is more than I can say for myself in the past. So is this a permanent change? Is just the moment? I don't know. But you know, like the longer time passes, the more it feels like this is truly, you know, like a new chapter for me. That I am truly doing better. You know, and of course, it like there are ups and downs. So some days I feel very vulnerable, as I said, and I things hurt more. But there are other days when I'm fully capable of, you know, dealing things, processing things. And yeah, so life is good basically. Nothing really happened to make me feel this way. It's nothing like specific. You know, like I'm just enjoying myself and you know like taking things slow, and I think I'm finally able to do that, because an issue, I think one of the reasons why I was craving the end so much is because something small would kind of like become catastrophically big. It's kind of like that meme with like a small domino and they're going to increase in size. So it's kind of like something small and then my brain just goes to like that level. uh, and yeah, so like right now it feels like my brain's kind of like just stay here, you know, like okay, we're it is bad, but you know we're not catastrophizing. I don't know if that's a word. Catastrophizing anything, you know, and I think that this helps, you know, because I'm yeah, like you know, things become less heavy, and that is all you need sometimes, like things being like less heavy, and it completely changes your outlook on life and your, you know, perception of yourself and of the world. Because you know, like I'm just like we're all just small cogs in the machine, and I wish I was a bigger cog, you know, like I wish that I had more of an impact, more of a you know role, a bigger role, and that is that's just not the reality. You know, maybe one day that's going to happen, but like right now, there's no way I have. So I think that is pretty much where the fantasies they enter into me, because basically in this fantasies, as I said, I'm like a bigger cog, and I can, you know, do something, because sometimes like all you need is to vent. Like you know, I want to establish in a way that is very visible and audible for you know like many people, because as I said, the thing about validation, you know, because if you just say something to yourself like that is still true, but you know like you can kind of like question whether that's the case or not. Like if you perceive that something, then it's like much easier for you to accept that. But yeah, but as I said, like my fantasies usually involve me being bigger cog, and because I feel like sometimes like I just want to state, you know, what I think, which my therapy is so good, but I think I want, you know, like say that on a stage, you know, I want, you know, large big reach, and that's just not where I am at, and you know likely that's never going to be where I am at. So I have to become content with, you know, like not being able to position to just, sometimes you just want to say like that's stupid, that's wrong, that makes no sense, that is you know like you just want to let it all out, you know, you just want to have your voice heard. That's, you know, another thing, because I feel like something I struggled when I was younger is because I was just living internally, so I wasn't really interacting. So I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel, you know, like that the things about me that I wanted to put out there that was being perceived. And it is interesting because well, I wasn't, and it wouldn't change if I didn't start making different choices. But yeah, but it is interesting, like it is one of those things that how, like, so I'm doing much better with that, like I said, like it's kind of like internally the fantasies, they were getting bigger and bigger because I needed increasingly more, to validate me. And right now, sometimes I'm doing well, I'm not thinking about it, and I'm just happy with my life. But sometimes I'm kind of like craving, having a voice, and I will always crave it because things are always going to happen, and you always will want to position yourself, and that's not a bad thing. Like there's nothing wrong with wanting to, like with being heard, basically. But this is something that I have to work on because I feel like my expectations, my desires are just too like bigger, larger than life, and that's not the reach that I have. So like it's something to think about. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up right now. It's almost like half an hour, so it means that an hour from now I'll be living, and it's raining, but I'll take an umbrella. And yeah, I'll be going on foot, so I'm going to do my exercise for the day. And yeah, that's that. Bye.